Once upon a time, Snow White's skin was considered the chic, sexy look of the Elizabethan English elite. Queen Elizabeth I's signature ghostly makeup typified the 16th century ideal for women, her porcelain skin representing nobility and earthly perfection. To achieve that perfection, Elizabeth covered her face with makeup composed largely of lead. She also rubbed mercury on her lips and probably used a mercury-based makeup remover that ate away at her flesh. During the Virgin Queen's era, the highest standard for female beauty was smooth, blindingly white skin. To achieve this look, Elizabeth wore Venetian ceruse, a cosmetic made from white lead and vinegar. She powdered her face and neck with the substance, transforming her pockmarked skin into an eerie porcelain canvas that probably smelled like sour wine. Thanks to 400 years of science, we now know that applying lead to the face on a daily basis causes serious and often irreversible problems like hair loss, skin deterioration, and even death by lead poisoning, which in the 16th century was pretty final. Lead wasn't the only poison in her pigments. The red lip stain, made from cinnabar, a toxic mineral containing mercury, gave her the signature red mouth that leaps out at you in all those paintings. The lead and mercury worked in tandem through skin absorption over long periods of time. On the surface, the lead face slowly corroded the queen's skin, prompting Elizabeth to apply thicker and thicker layers of makeup, reportedly layering it an inch thick toward the end of her life. Symptoms of mercury poisoning include memory loss, irritability, and depression, conditions Elizabeth reportedly experienced toward the end of her life. In the Elizabethan era, nobles didn't clean off their makeup nightly. After her maids applied the lead and mercury makeup to the royal face, Elizabeth wore it for at least a week. The lead soaked into her skin, causing it to turn gray and wrinkled. When she finally had her makeup removed, it is suggested that she might have used a concoction containing eggshells, alum, and more mercury. Some claim the mercury makeup remover left their skin soft, but that was due to it literally skinning them alive one layer at a time. As a teenager, Queen Elizabeth didn't wear as much lead makeup, not simply because she was younger, but because she hadn't caught smallpox yet. On October 10, 1562, she was struck with the high fever and displayed all the hallmarks of smallpox. Courtiers worried that Elizabeth would die within the week, but the young royal survived. Unfortunately, the disease left her with permanent scars, and in an atmosphere of constant scrutiny, she did everything possible to cover up such blemishes. Elizabeth understood that any scarring would mark her not as a survivor, but a pariah in the eyes of society. In 1586, Elizabeth commented on the scrutiny she faced as a royal, stating, "We princes, I tell you, are set on stages in the sight and view of all the world, duly observed." She forbade unflattering portraits of herself, compelling painters to depict her in a way that masked the ravages of time and her deteriorating skin. One of her strategies in combating the effects of aging was to wear a wig, an item that became publicly known when the Earl of Essex shocked the court by commenting on her mostly bald state in 1599. In the last months of her life, Elizabeth refused to let doctors examine her and fell into deep melancholy, believing that if she lay down, she would never get up. On March 24, 1603, Elizabeth passed away. Possible causes of death include cancer or pneumonia, but her long-term use of lead and mercury-based makeup likely contributed to her declining health. After a lifetime of poisoning from these substances, Elizabeth's body was toxic. One of her ladies-in-waiting claimed that Elizabeth's body burst in her coffin at her wake due to noxious vapors. Although often dismissed as propaganda, exploding coffins aren't unheard of, occurring when a sealed coffin traps gases produced by decomposition. While Elizabeth indeed suffered from poisons associated with her makeup, some suggest she may have died from blood poisoning. Just a week before her death, her doctors warned that her coronation ring was cutting into her skin and it had to be surgically removed. The evidence of people using lead in makeup dates back to at least the 5th century BCE, and it wasn't classified as a poison until 1634, less than 40 years after her death. In many ways, we still engage in dangerous practices for beauty, indicating that the tradition of sacrificing health for appearance is deeply rooted in history. So what do you think about Queen Elizabeth's approach to makeup?